Well, gang, just finished watching Harvest, and I'm gonna talk about this in sort of one half and then another half. So the first half I'm going to talk about is obviously Lois and Clark. I can imagine the world was squealing. I say the world, I say more like the fangirls, the shippers, the Chloe's fucking shippers. Yes, that's right, I did just swear. Were absolutely, we got Chloe's sex! Yeah, whatever. Seriously, I don't care. Okay, yeah, you got Chloe's sex. Wow. The only reason you got Chloe's sex was because the writers and producers all heard your pleas and thought, how can we make this program really more interesting? Oh, I know, let's make the Chloe's fans happy. Yeah, okay. Anyway, so the episode revolves mainly around this little village with a group of locals who have been blessed with a sign from God, apparently. There was a tragic accident 20 years ago, but from that tragedy emerged a new lease of life, as it were, for these locals. No one has been sick for 20 years since then. They're so perfectly healthy, it's actually quite scary. Their water is pure, all of that stuff, their crops, their food, everything is just blossomed since then. There is a reason for that, and that same reason is the reason why Clark doesn't have his powers as well. Okay, because I remember when they were talking about this episode, everyone was like, why does Clark not have his powers? How's that going to work? And the writers, both Churi Meyer and Al Septin, just basically said, just watch the show and you'll see. And I have to say, it worked to good effect. It did work to good effect, but it was still cheesy. It was still cheesy. Clark has become emasculated in that everything that he does now, he does it for Lois. And, you know, the guy's not even Superman yet, and yet he's doing things for Lois. I'm not feeling that anymore. So, yeah. The mythology has been completely turned upside down. Smallville is the only version of Superman that has changed the mythology to say that Clark does not become Superman or does not become the hero that we all know and love without Lois in his life. And there was even quotes that Lois was mentioning in this episode that reminded me of what Martha and Jonathan Kent always said to him when, you know, from previous seasons, from like the first 3 or 4 seasons. And here we have Lois reiterating those quotes. It doesn't really quite work. It doesn't have that same feeling as far as I'm concerned. Because for me, I'm not saying that Lois is not an inspiration to Clark, not an inspiration to him after he becomes Superman. Because after he becomes Superman, he becomes she becomes an important part of his life. But as is evident in this episode, and as I've discussed with a few other people on Twitter who think exactly like I do, yeah, Lois is prone to getting into danger, whether she does it on purpose or not. She's always prone to danger, okay? And if it wasn't for Superman, she would be dead already. I mean, how many times have we seen Lois in situations where if Superman was not around, she would be dead in an instant, okay? She's that close to danger, but it's because because obviously the producers and the writers play so heavily on that whole Lois can be saved at the last minute thing, is why we've got what we've got in Smallville, with Clark always putting Lois first and never himself. It's always Lois. It's like, dude, seriously, come on, you know. And the happy Chloe sex scenes for all you Chloe fans, yeah, whatever. Okay, seriously, I don't even want to know about that anymore. The other bits of this episode, there was a religious sense in this episode. As I say, with regards to the whole praised by the gods and everything. Then we've got Lois and Clark at the beginning of the episode. We've got Lois and Clark talking. There's Lois asking Clark about when they went to the Phantom Zone, Doomsday, and also Kara's ship, and how Clark just kept saying that they're all Kryptonian. And I just thought, oh my god, here we go. I thought, really? The cheesiest writing I've ever heard. in the history of Smallville. That was probably the most cheesiest. The writing, the only part the writing was spot on, and in fact, you know what, I'm just going to get straight onto it. The only part the writing was spot on was the interaction between Connor Stanhope and Cassie Freeman as young Alexander and Tess Mercer. Oh my god, wow. I was an absolute bits, because I was impressed with Connor's acting as Alexander. I mean, Alexander's has a birthday party. Yes, he's aged 4 years in 2 weeks. Tess is starting to get really worried. Okay, we see that he's drawing frantically at something on a plastic plate, on a paper plate. We find out it's actually the S symbol that he was drawing. He collapses on the floor, starts shaking, so he has a bit of a fit. Then Tess sees the symbol that he's drawn and is like, oh god, what's going on? Oh dear, this does not look good. Then she finds other drawings just like that, you know, so that he's been doing the symbol drawings for quite some time now. He then locks Tess into the bedroom. She finds him at the Kent barn, of all places, the Kent barn, okay? He's up in the barn and he's telling Tess about the day that him and Clark were in the barn, how they were both, you know, how Clark was telling Lex that they were going to be brothers, and Lex was telling Clark that their friendship would be the stuff of legends, and all this, that and the other. So he remembers everything. He remembers Clark. He remembers who Clark is. He even has a go at Tess. He belittles Tess, you know, to such a degree that she hits him. But then she then realises what she's done and begs for mercy, begs for absolute mercy to Alexander. To which he then replies, "My name is not Alexander, it's Lex." I was like, shit, damn. The kid he's got a darkness. That's just unbelievable. And it all came to a head towards the end when one of the doctors has been trying to create a reverse cure to stop the fast aging process. Eventually looked back on certain researches from one of the old Luthor Corp projects. One of them was relating to Emily Dinsmore and her accelerated aging process. She created a serum that was going to try and slow down Lex's aging process. However, Tess had a change of heart, and she had such a massive change of heart. It's now become apparent that she is convinced that this clone is not a clone anymore. It is the Lex Luthor. It's not a clone, it's Lex Luthor. And it became more apparent at the very, very last scene. That was scary. Very scary. And all I could see was a younger version of Michael Rosenbaum. The sneaky grin, the little smirk rather. And then the camera pans back and you've just got this figure standing in front of him, a bald figure. And I was like, shit, if Michael Rosenbaum does not return soon as possible, I'm going to go ballistic. Because that was the future just there. Just seeing Connor Stanhope standing in front of in the mirror, no hair. And I'm like, Jesus, Lex is reborn. Okay, it's Lex Luthor reborn. The Phoenix has risen. Remember Lois and Clark? Remember when Lex Luthor was supposed to have been dead, and then we see him in a wheelchair, and Lois Lane is helping him cross the road, and what does he do? Yes, he reveals himself to Lois. And they mention something about the Phoenix rising again. That was pretty much what we got in this episode regarding Alexander. So Lex is reborn. I can't wait to see where that one goes. I'm actually very much also looking forward to the episode Abandoned, because I've seen pictures of the female Furies and Granny Goodness, and especially Lindsay Hartley, that's Justin Hartley's wife, as Mad Harriet. I can't wait. I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think. Chloe shippers, don't bother leaving a comment because I'm not really going to read it. I really don't care about your happy scene and your happy Chloe sex. Oh, we're so happy that we finally got Chloe sex. No, we're not. So, yeah, leave that out for me. Thank you very much. And for the rest of yous, I'll see you next week for Ambush. See you later.